Today we will be talking about how to develop a healthy voice. We talked about the power of the voice, we talked about natural voice. Today we will discuss about healthy voice. Your voice is so important to you. You must develop it in a way that promotes its well-being and your well-being. This doesn't mean that you have to wrap your voice in a cotton wool. Your voice is fairly tough. If you see babies, they don't lose their voices even after hours of loud vocal exercise. Singers, actors, they look after their voice. If you're in any sort of talking profession, you need to take special care. We will talk about some particular indicators which will help you to work on your voice in such a manner that you don't harm it. If on a regular basis your voice breaks, your throat hurts, your jaw aches, or you lose your voice entirely, you're doing something wrong and you need to do something about it. I will offer you some tips for looking after your voice and some of the professional and organizations where we can connect with if we have some serious problems. I have a conversation with a lot of students and they tell me that, sir, with regard to the voice, the only thing that concerns them is to become fluent. Before we talk about being fluent, let's understand what fluency is. So many people aspire to be able to speak fluently and easily whenever the occasion arises. If you feel that you aren't fluent, the reasons can be physical, mental, or both. Physical reasons, the lack of fluency is normally connected with poor breathing. Shortness of breath can cause you to rush and mumble, tail off, hesitate, stutter, stammer, and even sound confused. Good breathing makes a huge difference. Simply slow down, follow through with your breath. Fluency is one of the first things affected by your mental state. As soon as you feel you're going to make a mistake or you can't think what you're going to say, you find that you can't even start to say anything at all. Why do you think this happens? If this situation sounds familiar, my first suggestion is to breathe. But there are other remedies worth considering. Slow down, take your time. Be a bit more with your space, your mind. Try to order it out. Use a plenty of emphasis as you speak. Emphasis enables you to focus on the important words, emotions, and remember where you're heading in a sentence. When you speak in such a manner that you're converting every word that you're saying into a story. And if you can make your listener feel when you are speaking, they can create a picture, they can create a visualization, they can create a story in their own mind's eye, then you become a powerful speaker. There have been some latest research into stuttering, which gives you successful strategies for attaining fluency. We will be discussing about them. One of my students, he asked me, sir, I understand that we are talking about the voice, but how do we become aware? What is the difference between a good voice or a bad one? See, developing your voice involves a technique, but technique alone doesn't give you a voice which has a magic and an impact. What do we mean by a great voice? I will give you some examples of great voices in the coming episodes. There are some special attributes, there are some special qualities that go well beyond the technique. In my view, a great voice is a vibrant and alive, and it sounds very genuine. Something that comes from the heart. It connects with the audience, it creates a bond between the speaker and the listener, and the communication is happening in such a manner that it's not just a communication, it's a transformation of the listener. All these qualities, they contribute to a great voice. We will explore each of them in the following episodes. Now let's come to what do we mean by an alive voice. An excellent voice vibrates with the ever-changing sense of being alive. A voice can be strong, a voice can be loud, a voice can even be impressive without being great. Yes, think about it. A great voice communicates through constantly varying nuances of expression. There is a slight emphasis here, a light tone there, a certainty here, a suggestion of hesitation there, and in this way, it expresses a whole range of feelings, thoughts, emotions, impressions, and expressions. The alive voice convinces, inspires, comforts, amazes, reassures, and influences in turn. The effect of a voice that's alive is that listeners feel they're listening to a person, not a voice. That is the difference between the voice of a robot, the voice of Alexa, the voice of Siri, or any other operating system, and the real voice of a human. The authentic voice is when you listen to great voices of the past. There is always this quality of authenticity. What is authenticity? Authenticity is nothing but the credibility of the speaker, which makes him or her feel authentic. When you have done your research, when you have gone through the experience, when you live your content and you reflect on your content, you by default become authentic. If you want to listen to an authentic voice, go to YouTube right now. Listen to Nelson Mandela at his trial in 1962. Or you can listen to the Nobel lecture of Toni Morrison in 1993, one of the most famous novelists. Every time you pretend to be something you're not, your voice takes on a quality that at some level sounds inauthentic. If you're open, at ease, and free, your voice reflects that. Then when you mean something like something else, you're trying to portray yourself in some different identity, the sound of your voice expresses it. Authenticity is not just a physical but a mental thing. Your body needs to be relaxed enough for the sound to resonate freely, but your mind also needs to be bold enough to allow you to be yourself. Being authentic can make you feel vulnerable, but vulnerability always creates the rapport with the audience. But the effect is for you to sound more powerful. We will talk about some useful tips for becoming more authentic as a speaker. When we are talking about the authentic voice, the real voice, the powerful voice, the natural voice, there is something called a connecting voice. Communicating with your voice is all about making a connection. You may think that giving a great presentation is about speaking powerfully, impressing people. That's fine and good. But if you listen to the greatest speakers of past and present, you find that they have an additional skill of being able to tune into an audience and create a link. In the upcoming section, we will talk about these different strings that combine to form the bow. Thank you so much for listening.